Hi, hello everybody. Welcome back to another session of coordination chemistry. And today we are going to start off with the theories of coordination complexes. We have to learn three theories. The first one is valence bond theory. Okay, so each and every theory has got its own advantages as well as limitations. We'll be learning them in depth with a lot of examples. So let's start. Write down the heading, valence bond theory. Valence bond theory, which states that the metal ligand bond is completely covalent. Is completely covalent is what it states. Okay, now there are different theories which states that. Now next you will be learning crystal field theory. Therein there is no concept of covalency. There it is everything about ionic interactions. So each and every theory has its own postulates, its own benefits. So we learn them one by one. So this video is going to be really just a brief introduction to get an idea about the valence bond theory. In the upcoming next two videos, we will be dealing them in depth. Okay. So one of the basic requirements of this valence bond theory is, so why is it used? First of all, it is to predict the hybridization. Okay, to predict the hybridization is what it was used for. Okay, now there are different hybridizations depending on the coordination number. We'll be learning about them in detail in the next video. But now let's take very few examples and we'll try to understand what they have tried to put up with. So here, the first requirement to predict the hybridization was the magnetic moment. Magnetic moment was required. Now, when you have certain complex, we need to give the value of the magnetic moment also, which will help us in predicting the predicting the hybridization. This was how this valence bond theory worked. What is magnetic moment? The spin-only magnetic moment of any complex is equal to root of n into n plus 2, where n corresponds to the number of unpaired electrons. Number of unpaired electrons. It's very easy to calculate the spin-only magnetic moment. So this is mu s, which stands for spin-only magnetic moment. Okay. Now let's say that the number of electrons that you have is equal to 1. So what will be the value of mu s? This is going to be 1 into 1 plus 2, which is equal to root 3, which is approximately 1.8. It's actually 1.73, approximately 1.8. When you have n is equal to 2, mu s is equal to 2 plus 2 is 4, into 2 is 8, and you have root 8. Root 8 is approximately 2.8. It is actually 2.82, 2.8. Now, when you have n is equal to 3, spin-only magnetic moment is equal to 3 plus 2 is 5 into 3 is 15, right? Root 15 is 3.8. It's actually 3.87. Now, you can see the trend. You can predict if it is n is equal to 4, mu s is going to be 4 plus 2 is 6. 6 into 4 is 24. Root 24 is approximately 4.89. Can you see? So n is equal to 5. The value of mu s, 5 plus 2 is 7 into 5, 35, is approximately going to be 5.8. Okay, so this is a trend. If you have got 1, it's going to be 1.8. 2 unpaired electrons, 2.8. 3 unpaired electrons, 3.8. 4 unpaired electrons, 4.8. 5 unpaired electrons, 5.8. Okay, so if we are given the value of the magnetic moment, spin-only magnetic moment, we can get to know the number of unpaired electrons and hence we can predict the hybridization was the idea behind valence bond theory. We'll be doing 2 to 3 examples and then we'll try to understand how can we predict the hybridization with this. Okay, so first complex, let's say, is cobalt Cn 6 times 3 minus. Okay, so whenever you are given any complex, you should find the coordination, you should find the oxidation number of the metal. Cobalt is the metal, correct? This is X. Cyanide, we know, is carrying a charge of -1. Cn minus it is. Okay, so X minus 6 ligands, -6 is equal to -3. So X is equal to +3 is the oxidation state of cobalt. All right. Now, cobalt, whose atomic number is 27, is actually 3d74s2, the final configuration. What we have over here is cobalt plus 3. Two electrons will initially go from 4s. Why? Because using Slater's rule, if you find the Z effective of a 4s electron, and if you compare it with the Z effective of a 3d electron, you will come to know that the Z effective of 4s is less than that of 3d. And hence, the electrons will first eject or will be removed from 4s. So 3 electrons has to go. 2 will go from 4s and 1 from 3d. So the configuration actually is 3d6. Cobalt 3 plus is 3d6. Now, on measuring the magnetic moment of this complex, it was found that the spin-only magnetic moment is equal to 0. If that is equal to 0, we understand that there are no unpaired electrons. Correct? If it was one unpaired electron, it would be 1.8. 2 means 2.8. Here it is 0 means 0 unpaired electrons. Thus, what can we understand? It is actually this, let's say, is 3D. Next, we have 4s and we have 4p, which is the next. Correct? So cobalt 3 plus has got 6 electrons, and from measuring the magnetic moment value which is required for VBT, I again repeat, we cannot predict this theoretically. This is something that you find experimentally and that has to be provided. Otherwise, this VBT cannot stand. So it was said that it is 0. That means everybody is paired. Correct? Everybody is paired. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now you have got how many ligands? You have cyanide 6 in number. Coordination number is 6. Each cyanide ligand comes with a pair of electrons. Correct? So 6 cyanide ligands will come with 6 pairs of electrons. Where would they occupy? 1, 2. This is the first pair, second pair, third pair, fourth pair, fifth pair, sixth pair. So the hybridization that it would opt is D2sp3 hybridization. And what is the geometry? Octahedral geometry. Mostly, when the coordination number is 6, the geometry would be octahedral. There are exceptions also. We'll be learning them in the next video. But most commonly, it would be octahedral. Octahedral can take two hybridizations, either D2sp3 or sp3d2. We'll do some examples so you will understand. Okay? So octahedral can take only two hybridizations, either D2sp3 if the inner d orbitals are available, or it is sp3d2. This is how it is. Okay, so over here, this complex has got D2sp3 because the first, the 3d orbitals were free, and hence this is the hybridization. Okay, so you got it. Next example, you try it on your own, which is manganese Cn 6 times 3 minus. Now, there are a lot of things that VBT could not explain. Why is the magnetic moment 0 over here? Why are they paired? So all these reasons are actually given from CFT. Okay, finally, while we solve a problem, we'll need everything. So it's not like VBT has some limitations and then we move to CFT, which is crystal field theory, and then you do not have to learn VBT. No, you have to learn all the theories. Okay, so the pairing actually occurs because cyanide is a strong field ligand. That is the actual reason. But this reason was actually put forth in another theory, crystal field theory. Okay, here there is nothing to do with strong field ligand or weak field ligand. Here it is all about the magnetic moment value. Okay, so do this question. Find the oxidation state of manganese. X minus 6 is equal to minus 3, meaning manganese is in plus 3 oxidation state. Manganese is actually 25, whose configuration would end in 3d54s2. And if it is Mn plus 3, correct. If it is in Mn plus 3, this becomes 3d4. This is how it is. 3d4. So when this complex was again experimented for magnetic moment values, it gave a value of around 2.8. So given the value of 2.8, we can understand that there are two unpaired electrons in the species, right? There would be two unpaired electrons. So we have 3d5, 4s, 4p. Okay, this is Mn, sorry, this is plus 3. And you have 1, 2, and see, understand that two of them are unpaired. 3, and there is a fourth one which won't be over here because now there would be 4 unpaired electrons. Instead, it is like this. The fourth one is paired. Now you see there are 2 unpaired electrons and hence the value 2.8. Now, why is it like this? VBT could not explain. That was put forth by who? CFT. Leave that aside. So now we have got the configuration. 6 cyanide ligands should come with 6 pairs of electrons. So each pair needs a vacant orbital. It won't occupy here. It won't occupy here as well. So the 6 pair, first pair, second pair, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. Again, the hybridization over here is D2sp3, and the geometry that it takes is octahedral. Okay, understood now. Easy. Now, similarly, if you had complexes where all of these 5 orbitals are filled, then for 6 ligands to come, 4s, 4p, and the next one is 4d over here, those 2 orbitals would be taken and it would be sp3d2. That's all. Here they are vacant. That's why we used this one. Nothing else. Okay. If you want such an example, let us do. Let's do Fe H2O 6 times 3 plus or 2 plus, whatever. Try. Okay. Also, it is given that the magnetic moment of this particular species was 5.8. This much. So first of all, we have to find the oxidation state of iron. Water is a neutral ligand. So this comes out to be X plus 6 times 0 is equal to plus 3. X is equal to plus 3 it is. Okay. Now next what we have is iron plus 3. So iron configuration is 4s2 3d6. You need iron 3 plus 2 will go from 4s, 1 will go from 3d, and finally you have 3d5. Okay. So 3d5, 4s, 4p, you have 4d, and we saw that the value of magnetic moment is 5.8, meaning there would be 5 unpaired electrons in 3d. Now there are 6 water ligands, each of which comes with a lone pair of electrons. Now there are no vacant orbitals in the inner d orbital. So the next 6 ligands would start occupying from here. First pair, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. sp3d2. Octahedral. Okay. I hope you get it. So if inner d orbitals are available, they would be preferred, d2sp3. If they are occupied, outer d orbitals would be preferred, and that would be sp3d2. So this is how you do it with coordination number 6. Now we'll be dealing with it deeper in the next video. Okay, there are a lot of exceptions that you have to know. Fourth complex, take it down, NiCl4 2 minus. Magnetic moment was 2.8. Pause the video, try it on your own. Chloride carries -1 charge. So x minus 4 is equal to -2. X is equal to +2 it is. Nickel, actually the configuration is 4s2 3d8. Here the oxidation state is nickel +2. 2 electrons would go from S and it will become 3d8 only. This is 4p, this is 4s, and this is 3d. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you can see there are 2 unpaired electrons, which would give a magnetic moment of 2.8. Now, how many ligands are there? 4 chloride ligands. Each comes with a pair of electrons. Easy. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the hybridization is sp3. Whenever you have got an hybridization of sp3, the geometry that you would be having is tetrahedral. Tetrahedral and not square planar. As I said, we'll be dealing it in the upcoming lectures. Don't worry. You just understand. By the end of the upcoming 2 videos also, no, it will be very clear to you. So don't worry. Okay, now 2 important examples. We'll be visiting these examples again in the next 2 videos. Let's say you have a complex, like, because these are some of the other properties that you can get to understand from VBT. That's why I'm just saying it over here. So you understood that if it is octahedral, you can have 2 hybridizations, D2sp3 or sp3d2, a very vague idea. And when you have a hybridization of sp3, you can call it tetrahedral. And whenever you have coordination number 4, it can be tetrahedral, it can be square planar also. Okay, we'll be dealing about them in detail. Have these vague ideas. Have these vague ideas. Now we'll do we'll do 2 more problems, and with this we'll wind up the session. Okay, take down the question. I think it was the 5th one. MnO4 minus. Okay. So actually speaking, the magnetic moment was found to be 0. Find the oxidation state. Manganese is X. Oxide carries -2 charge. Correct? How do you find the charge? I hope you know. This is oxygen. It has got 6 electrons around it. In order to act as a ligand, we said that its octet should be complete. So it has to gain 2 more electrons. When it gains 2 more electrons, it carries a -2 charge. That's how it carries. Okay. So x minus 8 is equal to -1. So x is equal to +7. X is equal to +7. So manganese is 3d5 4s2. And when you have manganese in +7 oxidation state, it becomes 3d0 4s0. 3d0 4s0. So what we have over here is 3d0 4s0. You have 4p over here. Not needed. Everything is vacant. No unpaired electrons. That's why your magnetic moment value is 0. Now who is coming? Oxide ligand is coming. Correct? Oxide ligand is coming. And it is coming with four lone pair of electrons. It is coming with four lone pairs of electrons. Okay. So in that case, the way the hybridization moves is, understand it very carefully. So we know that 4s fills SD. We know that according to the n plus L rule, 4s, it is 4 plus 0, 4, and of 3D, it is 3 plus 2, 5. So 4s actually fills 3D ahead. Okay, so I'm going to write it like this. 4s over here, 3D over here, because that is the order of electron filling. Correct. So actually, when you have 4 ligands, first pair, second, third, fourth, see the hybridization. Mark this question as important. So the hybridization over here is SD3 and not SP3. SD3 hybridization. And it is tetrahedral. The geometry is tetrahedral. Okay, so this is one way. This is one way of predicting the hybridization as well as the geometry. SD3 again corresponds to tetrahedral. So by now you would have understood that tetrahedral can also take two forms. One is SP3 and the other one is SD3. Okay. Octahedral, as I said, can take two, which is D2SP3 and the other one is SP3D2. Have these basic ideas. Have these basic ideas. I'm damn sure it will be clear by the end of the next two videos. Okay, so this much we have understood. Now there is something else that we can also predict. Something called the number of p pi and number of d pi bonds. Okay, of the same complex. Number of p pi and p pi d pi bonds is something that we have to learn. Okay, so how do you explain? So for that, we don't need the oxidation state. Consider manganese. Manganese is 4s2 3d5, correct? This is manganese. So you have 4s. This is 4p. This is 3d and this is 4s. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is the state of manganese. Now, manganese, when excited, the same manganese, when this gets excited, what happens? It acquires some energy, and as a result of acquiring some energy, one of the electrons from 4s jump towards 4p. One of the electron from 4s jump towards 4p as a result of excitation. Now it is excited. Manganese in its excited state. Okay. Manganese in its excited state. Now understand that there are 4 oxygens. Correct? So first oxygen, second oxygen, third oxygen, fourth oxygen. Each of these has got one lone pair of electrons, meaning 2 electrons. Okay. So the first electron will come over here, 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 and here. And it will form a sigma bond. Okay. This forms sigma bond. So there are 4 oxide. 4 oxides will in total bring 8 electrons. Correct? Am I correct? And now we have filled only now we have filled only 4 how many? 4 of them. So what is the structure of oxide? MnO4 minus. This is how it is. Okay. So if you can see, there are 4 sigma bonds and there are 3 pi bonds. 4 sigma bonds and 3 pi bonds. Out of these 3 pi bonds, if the question comes like how many of them are p pi and how many of them are p pi d pi, how would we answer them? So we can say there are 3 pi bonds. So for the 3 pi bonds, what they would do is out of the 4 have gone and occupied for sigma bonds. The next 4, one will remain on oxygen itself. The other 3 over here will make pi bonds. Okay, so it goes something like 1, 2, 3 pi bonds. So out of which you know that the electrons of the oxygen comes from 2p. Okay, and for forming the pi bond, it is overlapping with 3d, 2 in number. See, 2p overlapping with 3d, 2. And 2p overlapping with 4p, 1. That means p pi bond is just 1 and p pi d pi bond is 2. So you might think there are 8 electrons, 1 electron will remain on oxide itself. This is only possible if you know the structure. Okay, we'll do one more problem like this so that it becomes clear to you. That is, let's say ClO4 minus. The structure, this is the structure. ClO4 minus. You can do this in 2 ways. Okay. One, what is the oxidation state of fluorine over here? X minus H is equal to -1. X is equal to +7. So fluorine is actually 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p5. Okay, it is actually 3s2, 3p5. So chlorine +7 means it will be 3s0, 3p0. All the 7 electrons would go. So you have S, 3s is vacant, 3p is vacant. You have 4 oxide ligands which would come and occupy these vacant orbitals. The hybridization that we have is sp3. sp3 is associated with tetrahedral, we know. Correct. Now, this is done. Now, if they ask that there are how many sigma bonds? 1, 2, 3, 4 sigma bonds and 3 pi bonds. Out of these 3 pi bonds, how many of them are p pi p pi and how many of them are d pi p pi? So for that, we need to approach the problem in a different way. Cl is 3s, 3p5. 3s2, 3p5. This is the actual configuration. Now, when you excite this, okay, earlier also we excited it, it's not plus, okay, it's a star. When you excite it, what happens? You have 3s, you have 3p, and then you have 3d as well. So this is 3d, this is 3p, and this is 3s. Okay, so 3s has actually got 2. 1 will remain over here, 1 will jump to 3d. 3p has got 2 paired. So these 2, 1, 2, 3, all these will move to d. Okay, and everybody will stay unpaired. This is how it will stay. These are just postulates to explain. Now you have ClO4 minus. So you have 4 oxygens. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so the first 4 will go and form the sigma bonds. And then you have pi bonds to be formed. Those pi bonds will be formed by the next set of unpaired electrons. And there is one more electron, as you can see. What is the structure? This is the structure. One will remain on oxygen, 3 forms the pi bond. And what kind of pi bond it is? 3D with 2p. So number of p pi bonds is equal to 0. P pi d pi bonds 3. Okay, so this is how it is. Now we'll be delving deeper into the concepts, the hybridizations, special cases, exceptions in the next video. So in the next video, we'll be doing the valence bond theory of octahedral complexes. Okay, so see you in the next.